start of the day, this is kind of the two things I had been looking at. So when we opened up in the morning, what happened was yesterday when market reopened, we ended up gapping up. So because of that, we ended up coming down and tapping back inside of this gap, filling more orders before we ended up with this massive move upwards, which ended up coming up and filling up this 15-minute imbalance. Didn't quite take this 15-minute high. So if we jump over down to the 5-minute, this is kind of where my eyes were being drawn. So I was looking more or less at the gap on the 5-minute. So when we came down, I didn't take any longs here, but I ended up looking for longs at the top solely off of a 5-minute bounce, and then immediately ended up switching because we ended up taking this 5-minute liquidity, and you will show you that right now. Okay, so if you look at the trades I did take, show you the bias for why I took them. So again, if you look right here on this 5-minute chart, we were respecting this 5-minute imbalance, which led to these longs that I took right here, which was the first trade that I took. So down here, again, we were respecting this 5-minute, which was right in this area. We came back up. We ended up building up some structure that I did like, which was this 1-minute imbalance right here. We ended up inversing this fair value gap, which led us to almost break up to the upside. So I ended up getting in up here because this is where the entry candle that I wanted to get in at. What led this play to actually go wrong was I didn't get the entry candle here, which if this candle would have broke, then I would have been in. But we didn't get this candle to close up above this high, which would have been my entry. But even if I would have got in off of this break, it looks like we would have got stopped out regardless. With this trade, I looked to get in at the close of this one because that's where we broke above the previous high, and we also broke on ES the same exact high, so it was both of them right at the same time. And you can kind of see what I was risking on this trade. For this specific trade, I was in about 48.50 ticks, so about 250. Actually, it's a little less than that. Yeah, so right around 45 ticks, and the height that we even got to was about 40. The next previous high from where we entered in is always my TP1, so we could have taken profit and got a TP1, but we didn't because it wasn't a one-to-one risk reward at least. So I was looking to take profit. Mainly I was looking at these 15-minute highs. So the moment that we started rejecting here, and then I saw this reversal candle, I thought for sure that it was possible that maybe we get up and we take this out. We just fell shy of it. But this high right here was really the TP I was looking for, where I would have probably moved to break even just to see how we reacted off of it, and then would have closed if we reacted poorly off of if we would have took these highs. When we end up taking up these highs right here, we had this rejection candle, and then we ended up breaking structure to the downside. We took out these highs again, and we had this rejection candle. We came down and we closed below and breaking structure back to the downside right there, inversing this fair value gap, which immediately switched up my bias. So after these longs failed, I seen that there was possible shorts when this closed down here. So when we ended up inversing it with this nice drop off was when we entered, got a fairly poor entry just from slippage. Stops are right above this fair value gap, so I was in about 61 ticks, and then my first TP was these lows right here. We ended up not quite catching the bottom by the time I sold out. It was for about 54 ticks, so a little under a 1-to-1, not the greatest return overall from where I had my stops, but that led us to being, I believe, positive on the day, which led me into the second session. So let's jump over to those trades. After this major sell-off from this afternoon, we came up, we took out these side highs, and then we had this major sell-off throughout lunch. And when we got down to these lows, if we look over on the 15, we came down and we filled in yesterday's fair value gap. So we came down and we bounced off this 15-minute, and we also bounced off of this 5-minute, like so. The moment that we came up and we broke structure here, this is a signal to me that the reversal was changing on the 5-minute. So the moment this 5-minute break happened, I was looking for a retracement and then looking for longs to potentially come out and take out some highs. So if you look at the freaking trades that we ended up taking, and we ended up making basically all the profit back that we lost from this first one. As you'll see, it literally stopped me out to the tick, which really does suck. So like I said, we came down, we bounced off this 5-minute, 15-minute, and this is where we ended up taking the trade. When we reversed down, when we came back up and we retraced, we ended up building structure right here, and this is where my eye was being pointed to. So we ended up inversing off of this fair value gap, and we ended up inversing this top fair value gap. So just based off of those two, I was slightly nervous about this fair value gap here, but when we entered in off of this bounce off of these two fair value gaps, really it's just the bottom one because we inversed that top one. with this red candle, but it was just there for reference. We ended up coming up and we ended up breaking right here. I entered in off of that break. My stops were literally right below that. As you can see, we got stopped out to the tick. And because of that, when we rebroke again here, I said, okay, so it clearly does want some highs. And I ended up taking profit at these highs up there. So if we jump in, our stops were below these lows. So if we take a look at where my stops was, so I had about a 55 tick stop loss, and I was shooting for these first highs. I wanted to have these first highs blow through. We ended up taking out two different highs. So we took out these highs and these highs right here. Still have it marked out. We didn't quite take the full 2.0. I ended up selling off of the first TP. So the first TP got us right around 63 ticks. So a little above a 1.0, about 1.2 most likely risk to reward ratio. Obviously, we've just taken off from there. Overall, we still ended up positive on the day. Obviously, it has been a fight all day long to get T-Mobile where we're at. Nonetheless, we'll take it with that. Catch you guys next one.
Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm